Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 160. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And since it's 160, ending on the tens again, we're doing our next for Joyous's information. So that'll be interesting.
Can't wait to learn some shit that I probably already should have known.
Well, you may know a little bit. I've hinted last week that I've dropped this name numerous times throughout the years we've been doing this. It is
Well, what do we know? What we know about my memory is that may mean nothing.
right, and that's what I'm hoping for. It is the case of the Golden State Killer.
Okay, this one does sound familiar. I've heard this, I believe, outside of you as well. I at least have heard the word, the
Okay,
name.
so do you want to take
Me can't speak today.
do you want to take a stab at what he's responsible for? Ruin that a little bit. It's a he.
Let's. No, that's okay. Golden State is California, right?
Correct.
Feels like it was like Golden State feels like it was a school, so maybe he like murdered a bunch of like college kids.
Wow.
That's, am I right?
No, not even close. I liked the
Oh,
logic. I liked the logic. That's all.
that's all I got. That's all I got. Maybe he like his MO was like chopping off their feet or something. That's my wild guess.
So I guess the next question then is, so I've referenced it numerous times over the years. What do you, in what context would I have repeatedly referenced somebody?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question to you. Why do you think I mentioned him?
He like inspired other ones, maybe?
Okay. Well, we'll get into it now. No, he didn't inspire anybody, at least not that I know of, not yet. The closure of his case is relatively recent.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so this is a recent-ish thing. Or
Ish.
ish. Okay. Because I know sometimes it takes them forever to like solve it and get it down.
That's
But
that's that's kind of where that's going. Yes. So I obviously have referenced Bundy a million times because Bundy's like the quintessential serial killer. We all
yes.
recognize his name, but the Golden State Killer is mostly famous for the being solved through genetic genealogy. This is one of the biggest ones, if not the biggest one.
Gotcha.
So that's why I've referenced it so many times.
Very cool. Okay. We
Okay.
love genetic genealogy. So cool.
Yes, absolutely. They need to use that on more cases. And the fact for just even which is no longer available, people, I'm sorry, but just the fact that they haven't used it yet on Molly Bish kind of angers me as much as it does her family, I'm sure, because it's crazy that they haven't used that yet.
Right.
I know
It seems like they
they should
but
have.
I guess they have to open up a cold case before they do
Well,
that on it.
it's still not closed. There's no
Oh.
resolution on Molly Bish, and there's no, in fact, her sister Heather Bish, and we talked about that on the original recording of episode one, that she had actually had to learn how to write her own legislation to be presented to the state to make that happen.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing, but no movement, so it's crazy.
Yeah,
Stink
that is crazy.
stinks of corruption, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes me stop and wonder. So, but all right, we're gonna dive into the Golden State Killer. You ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right. So, in the 1970s and 80s, California was the home to a predator who stalked the suburbs of Sacramento all the way down through Southern California. Now, this figure, whose crimes spanned more than a decade, crossed jurisdictional lines and baffled investigators.
Classic 70s and 80s.
Right? Back when there were no cameras or even motion sensor lights, right?
Or even like connected databases.
None of it, yeah. He would slip through windows, he would creep into houses, and he vanished into the night, leaving fear behind for generations. And I'm not even being hyperbolic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he would be known over time by numerous names, but we're going to focus on four of them for this episode. And we will discuss each of these in their parts. The first name he was known as was the Visalia Ransacker.
Okay.
The next name he was known as was the East Area Rapist. He was then known as the Night Stalker before Richard Ramirez made that nickname for himself super famous. So
Right.
so they refer to this version of the Night Stalker as the original Night Stalker.
Okay.
And then
This feels like a comic book kind of thing.
right. Yeah, like they have to retroactively rename him. Yeah.
Right. And also like don't give them cool names, guys.
Yeah, he loved it too. And
I'm sure
finally,
he did because that's a cool name.
right? And finally, he was known as the Golden State Killer, which we will get to why all that changed as we go. And
And
before,
that's the most famous of the names, right? Because that's the one like I've certainly heard
yeah,
before.
that's the one that yeah, this is what he had at the end. Yes. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
and it should be noted for our listeners, we are going to be doing this in two parts. So tonight we're going to be covering the first half of the Golden State Killer's life and crime spree, and then we'll go into the second half as well as his capture and all that other good stuff.
So cliffhanger this week, huh?
Yeah, just a little. So we're going to apologize in advance, but it had to be done. Otherwise, we're going to do this for like 2 hours plus. So we don't want that in a single episode. So
No, and I can't sit through that.
yeah, I think last week's episode, because it was, I mean, it wasn't too long, but because it was so many short cases, it was easier for you to kind of remain engaged. Whereas this one, if I dragged it out, by the end, you'd be like, oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. You're pro. You're pro in my severe ADHD now. It's really you just got to keep mixing it up.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember what episode it was, but I remember hearing you yawn towards the end. And I was like, oh wow, I got to wrap this shit up. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, damn, girl.
All right. So for us, we start at the beginning when he was only known as the Visalia Ransacker, and we have to go back to the city of Visalia, California in 1974. Visalia was...
He ransacks.
Yes. Visalia was a small agricultural town, basically orange trees and dairy farms in every direction. It was a kind of
Sounds picturesque.
very quintessential, farm area USA. It's
Mm-hmm.
a place where everyone knew each other, families felt safe, kids rode their bikes along the streets, front doors were often left unlocked, all those mythological things you hear that you would never do today.
Well, we wouldn't, but we also live in major cities,
We do.
so
And I think, and you're right, no one in a major city, even back in the 1800s, left their doors unlocked. Yeah.
exactly. They had like metal bars on them, and I don't quite have that.
Right. So, but basically in the summer of 74, break-ins started to happen and everything started to change. Now, at first glance, there were little things that might have gone unnoticed. Someone found a window open, or maybe a screen was removed, or maybe a little trinket was missing from their dresser. In some cases, clothing was rearranged in their closet or left out on the bed as if someone was selecting what to put on.
I quite literally, you
Wouldn't
could do that to me so much and I would never notice.
And that's what I mean. And I know it's because of your ADHD and all that other stuff, but this is what this guy was doing initially.
And also because I just live in chaos, right? Like my room is always just insane. Like I don't ever know the last place I put something.
Fair, fair.
Like if I can't find something, I just assume it's my fault.
So it's funny because so for me, every place has its thing, you know what I mean? And everything has its place.
Mm-hmm.
So I know exactly where my wallet and my keys should be at any given moment because I always put them in the same place.
Okay, fair. Those I do know, but that everything else, it's lost.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I don't organize everything perfectly, but I do know where most things are. I would notice if someone was moving my shit around.
It takes all kinds.
Right.
Makes sense why it took so long because, it's probably a lot of people like me.
Well, police wrote down all these incidents as simple burglaries. There was nothing organized, there was nothing alarming about it, but the pattern grew, and more break-ins started to happen, and homeowners kept reporting all these strange occurrences. Now, the weird thing was, items of value were left untouched, but these
That is
sentimental...
weird. I almost like wouldn't. I guess you would report that if there was like something missing, but
Right, but the weird thing is what was missing were sentimental possessions, like diaries and
oh,
family photos,
oh,
weird things like that. So the kind of
that
thing,
is weird.
yeah, a thief wouldn't take those, but someone fucking with you would.
Right. And like someone who's like a kleptomaniac.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is that this, of course, is when the Visalia police start naming him the ransacker. But
Interesting.
one more detail stood out to them, is that the ransacker seemed to enjoy moving around people's homes, touching their belongings, leaving those small disturbances just to make sure they would notice he was there. Like, he never cleaned out jewelry
Yeah.
boxes. He was just exploring their houses and making them feel uneasy.
Yeah, that's it's like kind of understandable. It's like, yeah,
It's
I do
kind of
kind of want to
funny.
know what people have in all their shit, but I'm not gonna break into anyone's house and do that. But
Yeah, please
if I
don't.
were to have any motivation, it would just be curiosity.
That's so funny. Well, the people started to develop neighborhood watch programs, and they would leave their porch lights on all night. But the ransacker still kept coming. Police began to realize that he didn't simply break into homes. He was walking their neighborhoods and watching their routines. He
Oh, damn.
and he was often seen like in yards days before a break-in would happen. He would move garbage cans slightly. He would leave their gates unlatched, and they even found footprints under windows.
Interesting. And no one saw this guy, even though we have neighborhood watch?
Typically, it's just a shadow. Like they see someone and he takes off.
Interesting. He's good at this.
This is his learning stage right here.
Right, this is him learning to be a serial killer, and this is a key skill, I would say.
Yeah, he's definitely taking it very seriously.
Yeah, he's at the dojo of being a serial killer, and he's taking lessons.
Right, exactly. On September 11th, 1975, the ransacker broke into the home of 45-year-old Claude Snelling. Claude had previously chased away a prowler he had discovered outside his 16-year-old daughter's bedroom window the week before.
Oh, a prowler is in like not like
We
a creep, like
he
not like someone or his daughter was trying to sneak out and hang out with.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, that's not what we know, right? It's just he saw someone
Fair enough.
outside his daughter's window and chased him away, right? We don't know if
Hmm.
it was the ransacker or, like you said, a boy from school. Although
Hard to know.
that never occurred to me, and that's really funny. What a great, especially at this time where you have a ransacker. You know what I mean?
Right, right. You're like gonna run away anyone.
Horrible time to go and try to sneak your girlfriend out of her bedroom.
Very, very true. This is not how you're gonna win over your girlfriend's parents.
No. So on the night of September 11th, Claude was woken at 2 a.m. by strange noises. Upon leaving his bedroom, he ran through an open back door and he confronted a ski-masked intruder in his driveway as that man was attempting to kidnap his daughter Beth, who had
Whoa.
she had been subdued into cooperating with him under threats of being stabbed or shot.
Whoa. And he caught the guy.
He caught the guy.
How often does that fucking happen?
Not very often.
Yeah.
So Claude, of course, he ran out of the house and he sees what's going on, and Claude was shot twice by the guy trying to take his daughter. He staggered
Oh, fuck.
he staggered back into the house where his wife was, who called the police, and Claude would later die.
Oh my God.
But after shooting Claude, this assailant, the ransacker, punched and kicked his daughter Beth, leaving her on the ground while he fled the scene. Now, After the murder, Beth underwent hypnosis in order to help get it for like further information, remember more details.
Mm-hmm.
And the Visalia police then committed more resources to apprehending the ransacker, even offering a $4,000 reward.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, again, this
Yeah.
is the first of four names.
If anyone knew something, they already would have like offered it up.
Exactly. So now the police are basically doing what the neighborhood watches were doing. They have nighttime stakeouts set up near houses that the ransacker had previously entered. But the ransackings continued.
Of course, he's not going to hit the same ones.
Well, that's the interesting thing about him is he would return to the same areas over and over again.
Interesting.
Around 8:30 p.m. on December 12th, 1975, a masked man entered the backyard of a house at 1505 West Kaweah Avenue, and that's basically in the same area where he had hit before. A detective named William McGovern, who was staking out that area and was actually hiding inside a garage, attempted to detain the ransacker.
Oh,
As
wow.
the
Was ready.
Yeah, so the ransacker is trying to run, and he like yells out, and he removes his mask. And McGowan fires a shot in the air, and the ransacker stops, and he starts to pretend to surrender.
Smart.
Now, Detective McGowan had his flashlight, and one of the things that law enforcement and military do when you carry a flashlight, you do one of two things. For some reason, I don't know why they do this, they put it near their heads, but oftentimes you're taught to keep it away from your heads because if there's someone's going to fire a shot, they're going to shoot it at your flashlight because that's the source of light.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Right. In TV shows, they always are like holding the gun and then holding the flashlight on top of it.
right, in some, yeah, but like we were trained to keep it away from our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, McGowan wasn't doing that.
Oh
So the
dear.
ransacker pulls out his revolver with his left hand and fired it at the flashlight, shattering it, and the glass and stuff went into McGowan's face.
Oh shit.
At that point, the ransacker leaped over a fence and fled. Nearby officers rushed to the aid of McGowan, and they did the right thing. They saved him, but as a result, the ransacker escaped.
Did this guy survive?
He did, yes. He doesn't die.
Okay. Okay, good.
Now, items that were collected as evidence, including the bullet and the flashlight, were tennis shoe tracks and a sock filled with coins that the criminal dropped.
Huh.
A sock filled with
Was
coins.
he like using it to beat people with? It's like what's that thing in that movie where they like
Oh,
put
the
sock in a
sap, or yeah.
soap in a sock?
Oh, yeah, in Full Metal Jacket, the rack party.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
No, I think he stole. I think he saw a bunch of coins and decided to steal them and used a sock or something. Really weird.
Very strange, but we're talking about a strange man, so.
Yes, we are. So at that point, after this near capture, the ransacker disappeared. The break-in stopped, and for the city of Visalia, it was over.
Well, glad they're getting some respite.
However,
Or sounds like permanently over.
yeah, permanently over, because 200 miles north in the suburbs of Sacramento, a new terror began for them in 1976.
Yeah, he just relocates.
So the first reports didn't seem like all these crimes were connected as it started. The strange prowler in a backyard, those reports, people were finding windows open, dogs barking frantically at nothing, kind of building
Right,
up
which
all over
individually
again.
are not that crazy of things.
Right. So it didn't take long for residents to realize that something was terribly wrong because soon a masked intruder began breaking into their homes, but unlike the previous town, this time he was doing it while people were still home.
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, that's how these stories always go. They escalate.
They escalate. This new version of this predator was more organized. It's like he got a whole new skill set, like he leveled up in a video game.
Ugh, hate that.
No one in Sacramento would know at the time that this was the Visalia ransacker and that he had evolved. So this new
Yeah,
identity,
you'd think it's something totally different.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
and they're not exactly close. You know what I mean? 200 miles
Yeah.
is a long way, especially in the 70s.
Yeah.
Now, of course, police and the media dubbed him the East Area Rapist, which is, we're going to get to those crimes, but you can obviously imagine.
Yep.
So the Sacramento suburbs in the mid 1970s were booming. Rows of ranch houses sprang up across newly paved streets. Families moved in from all over the state, drawn by the promise of a safe neighborhood and a good school. Yeah,
Womp womp womp.
right. And then this asshole comes in.
Right. I
So,
mean, almost like to a fucked up person like that, like
oh
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what his problem is, but that seems like exactly the kind of place a fucked up person would target.
Well,
It's
I'm
like,
not.
oh, you want your perfect little suburbia? Let me fuck that right up for you.
I'm not, again. When I was a teenager, we went out and caused trouble. We literally just were like, "Let's go cause trouble," and we weren't going to do
Yeah.
it in our shitty neighborhoods. We went to the nice neighborhoods. You know?
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah. I mean, it
Why would you
was
fuck up your own people?
right, and it was fun. I mean, we're talking. Some of it was extreme, but some of it was funny. Like I remember me and this girl, a girl I was hanging out with. We went across the street from a kid, another girl at school we didn't like, and we tore out chunks of her, the neighbor across the street. We tore out chunks of their lawn so that when her family left, there was a giant penis in the lawn across the street.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, but we did this in a really nice neighborhood. I'm sure we cost that the landscaping bill must have been up there. But
You know what? Those landscapers deserve the money, so
right.
I declare this morally neutral.
Okay, well, thank you.
I am the judgment. And I think that's fine.
Well, back to the East Area Rapist. He
Yeah,
be-
no, not fine. No.
he began studying the area the exact way he studied Visalia, but this time with more discipline. Residents started reporting that there was a prowler, someone slipping into their backyards, moving across bike trails after dark, and hiding behind fences. Police,
It's so terrifying.
it's crazy. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Police increased their patrols, but that prowler never stayed in one place for too long. But then he started making phone calls.
Oh. Oh no. Is this inspiration for Scream?
Very possibly. I'm sure that's partly where they got it from, but Scream actually is. There's another killer that inspired. That was. I'm sorry, I'm getting that backwards. There's a killer who was inspired by Scream, but his name is Daniel Rawlings, and he's on our list to be done in the next few months. So
Interesting.
yeah, that one's fun. I mean, fun. You know what I mean.
Right.
So these calls, some of them were hang-ups, some were just heavy breathing, some were quiet, strange mutterings where he would whisper in a high-pitched voice like kill you. It was like really weird, like kill you, like that.
Oh God.
Yeah, really
That's like,
weird shit.
oh,
Yeah.
terrifying.
Now to this day, investigators can't confirm exactly how many came from the East Area Rapist or how many were just unrelated or copycats or what.
Right, like teenagers crank
Right.
calling.
I mean, I did similar. Not exactly that, but we pretended to be a radio station. That was our big one.
That's really funny.
We would call up. I'd be like, it was like, well, if you can win $300 if you can tell me the name of whoever's new album. And our favorite one was when Alice Cooper came out with the album Hey Stupid, because if someone knew it, they would go, Hey Stupid, and I'd be like, who the hell are you calling stupid? And I'd hang up on them.
That's a good bit.
I liked it. Anyway, again, back to this guy. We digress again. The effect of these calls had the same effect. It created a sense of vulnerability that began spreading across the suburban neighborhoods, and this dude just stepped back and watched it happen.
He's living for it.
One of the unsettling patterns that investigators discovered early on was that the intruder appeared to conduct extensive surveillance before making an attack. He, again, memorized the routines of the families, learned which houses had dogs, which ones had sliding glass doors, and which couples had early work schedules.
Ugh.
He also made...
If only this man applied himself to something good.
Just wait until I tell you what he does for a living.
Oh, he does it right because he's not stealing anything valuable, so he can't be doing that for a living.
Exactly. He also made note of ditches and drainage canals, creeks and bike paths, all of which he made use of later to escape without ever coming up on a main road.
It's very smart.
Yeah, this wasn't an impulsive criminal. It's someone who clearly trained himself and knew exactly what he had to do.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, none of this is giving impulse, like especially that he's not stealing, he's thinking long ahead of time about strategy, he's visiting the same places.
Right.
Like this is someone who's truly for doing it for the love of the game.
Right, and investigators rarely see something like that.
It's very strange, yeah.
As Sacramento residents tried to make sense of the prowler's sightings and the strange phone calls, detectives began noticing the same detail that appeared in Visalia. He didn't take valuables, he took personal items when he did enter a home. Rings, bracelets, driver's licenses. Weird.
Yeah. Weird
All,
fucker.
all they knew for sure was that this dude wanted control. Not money, control. And that would be his
Yes.
signature. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this intruder didn't simply break in and flee. He controlled the environment inside the house with the people present with chilling efficiency. He entered the
Ooh.
he entered the home silently, sometimes hours before people returned from their jobs. He
Ooh.
would turn off porch lights. He opened windows. He would unlock doors from the inside. And after he made his attack, he would vanish. And we're going to get into some of the details in a bit.
Yeah, it sounds like he's really just trying to creep them out.
Yeah, he's just fucking with everybody. Yeah,
Which is weird and makes me more nervous of him.
right, and that's exactly it. This is a terrifying one, and this is why this case became so famous.
That makes sense. It's like every like suburban anxiety all wrapped up in one.
Exactly. So on December 18th, 1976, the East Area rapist entered the home of 15-year-old Chris Pedetri, who was home alone while her parents were at a Christmas party. At 6 p.m., as she was playing the piano, the East Area rapist, wearing a ski mask, put a knife to her throat and said,
Oh.
"Do what I say or I'll kill you, and I'll be gone in the dark."
Oh.
Now that phrase, "I'll be gone in the dark," is actually the title of a book written by Michelle McNamara and the title of an HBO documentary series on this case.
Oh, interesting.
Now, briefly, Michelle McNamara is the wife of Patton Oswalt.
Oswald? Like who's gay, right?
No, he's not gay. He's short, kind of heavy. He's not gay.
Oh, you can be all three of those things.
That's true.
But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's Michelle's husband.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about her in the second part because she plays a much bigger role towards the end. I think, and I believe she's attributed to having created the name the Golden State Killer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she did a lot of work, and she was actually one of the early armchair investigators that connected the Visalia ransacker, the East Area rapist, the original Night Stalker, and that's why she came up with the name the Golden State Killer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she's amazing, and we'll get into her in part 2. So the East Area rapist is in the house with Chris, and for more than 2 hours, he raped her 3 different times.
Oh my God, that's awful.
According to Chris, he alternated between leaving her outside naked in the winter cold and bringing her into different rooms where he would rape her.
Oh, that's really fucking awful.
He ultimately left her on a couch in front of a fireplace, leaving her bound, blindfolded, and gagged before he left.
Oh.
She freed herself and called neighbors for help, and she later described further humiliation when she had police there helping her, but they were asking her really intimate questions that as a teenager she wasn't exactly equipped to answer.
Oh.
And she felt violated again when they administered the rape kit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she did. That can be really fucking awful.
She referred to those interactions as the second and third victimizations that she endured that evening.
Oh, because yeah, she's just like, even I'm sure just telling the story is re-traumatizing.
Exactly. And again, she's sitting there in front of strangers, probably adult men who aren't really giving her maybe the sympathy she should be getting. It's the 70s,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Somehow he broke into her house and they're gonna find a way to blame her for it.
right? Yeah, you
You
shouldn't
just
have
know it.
should have been paying more attention while you're playing piano or
Well, yeah, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you fight him off?
right? So the East Area rapist's usual method was to break in through a window or a sliding glass door. He would awaken the sleeping occupants with a flashlight, threatening them with a handgun. Victims were subsequently bound with ligatures, often shoelaces that he either brought with him or took from somewhere in the house. He would blindfold them and gag them, as oftentimes with towels that he ripped into strips.
Really, really preparing.
Exactly. The female victims were usually forced to tie up her male companion before she was bound. The bindings were
Ugh.
often so tight that the victim's hands were numb for hours after being untied.
Oh.
He would then separate the couple, and he often stacked dishes on the men's back. He would make them lay on their stomachs, and he would stack dishes on their backs. And he would threaten to kill everyone in the house if he so much as heard a plate rattle.
Oh.
Fucking crazy.
How do you even come up with that shit? That's crazy.
He then would remove the woman to the living room where he would rape her repeatedly. And he would spend hours in the home ransacking closets and drawers, eating food out of the refrigerator, drinking beer, and raping the women again while making additional threats.
Oh.
Sometimes the victims would think he was gone, and as they began to move, he would jump out and scare the fucking shit out of them all over again.
Oh. This guy's fucking insane.
From June of 1976 through July of 1979, so 3 years, the East Area rapist committed 50 reported rapes.
Whoa. What the fuck? And they haven't caught him at this point?
No,
Oh my God.
mainly because these attacks produced very little evidence.
Right. They don't have DNA.
Right. There were no footprints, no fingerprints, no witnesses who ever saw his face. So, yeah. The only
Ugh.
the only new thing they learned was that he didn't speak a lot, and when he did, it was only enough to intimidate. However,
Interesting. But that doesn't help you pin down a person and like find them.
no, but however, some witnesses claimed that when he spoke, he used a fake high-pitched voice. And
Mm.
sometimes when he was walking around the house, he was apologizing to someone who wasn't there,
Oh, that's fucking weird.
right?
This
As
guy's schizophrenia.
as news of the attack spread, Sacramento residents began taking extraordinary precautions. Sporting goods were selling out of deadbolt locks and window locks, and guard dogs were being bought up at an enormous rate.
Whoa.
Yeah, again, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, just like coming to the point where you're like, no, we're gonna go through the whole thing of getting a dog, just be a guard dog because we're so terrified.
Well,
Is really fucked up place to be in.
I don't go too deep into this, but they do discuss this in the documentary. He did use dog mace, and basically, some people had dogs. They didn't understand why their dogs weren't there to like protect them. And it was often because he came either the day before or earlier that day and blasted the dog with the dog spray. And
Oh.
even if it's the next day, the dog remembers that you did that to them. And
Yeah, and so now it's afraid.
correct.
He's
So,
creating terror even in the canine population.
right, this fucker's sick. Community meetings overflowed with people desperate for information. Residents began sleeping with weapons near their beds, and sometimes men
Whoa.
men would stay up all night while their families slept just to keep vigil.
Oh.
Police began patrolling on bicycles, horseback, and even on foot to navigate the canals and trails that they're figuring out he liked to run through.
Like I would hope at least they're figuring that out after 50 fucking incidents.
Yeah, it's crazy. 50 reported rapes.
Right.
Crazy. They even used helicopters during some nights, scanning neighborhoods with searchlights. And he,
Oh,
and
what a
he,
like just terrifying environment to live in too.
I can't, again, we live in pretty big cities, and I'm glad we haven't had this level of shit.
Yeah.
Somehow, the East Area Rapist continued to move undetected. But one striking detail did emerge during this period. He often canvassed neighborhoods disguised as delivery men. Some people reported a teenager on a bicycle or a repair worker. He tried to blend seamlessly into this suburban landscape. One person
Mm-hmm.
said people were reporting everything, like a polite young man on a bike, a guy pretending to be checking gutters of homes. Like they were so paranoid, and he was actually some of the people being reported.
Right. Of course they're gonna be paranoid.
It's so fucked up. It became clear to police that his escape routes were not random. He was using the natural design of their suburbs, its canals and drainage ditches, as his getaway corridors. They were figuring this out. These paths allowed
Good.
him to move faster than officers in patrol cars, obviously, and as I said, they're figuring it out. And criminologists later pointed out that this knowledge suggested training or experience with tactical movement, possibly from law enforcement or the military.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
but unfortunately, in the 1970s, this insight wasn't doing them enough good.
Right. It still doesn't really help.
Well, again, he's making these phone calls, so he's taunting the victims. He's taunting police and the entire community. He
Yeah.
he was no longer avoiding attention, he was now feeding off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, survivors reported receiving those strange phone calls, sometimes before or sometimes after the attacks. Some of them were whispering, some of them were quiet breathing, but police could not confirm which ones were him or which ones were fakes, which we've kind of said already.
Mm-hmm.
One woman received a call that simply just said, "You're next," and hung up. Yeah,
Oh,
fucking crazy. Like psychological warfare.
absolutely.
And again, we're not even sure that was him.
Right.
It could,
Oh, it could have just been someone who didn't like her and wanted to like fuck with her.
right, and this is pre-caller ID. So it could have been an
Oh, y'all
ex-boyfriend.
really lived in the dark ages.
We so did. Investigators could feel the effect spreading through Sacramento. It was like an invisible fog settling over each neighborhood. And it was clear that he knew what he was doing. As the attacks continued into 1977, the East Area Rapist adjusted his methods again. He
Ugh.
began breaking into homes hours before the assault, sometimes days before. He would leave ropes hidden under couch cushions so that he could use those to bind his victims.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, one woman was cleaning her house and she found them under her couch cushion.
Oh, the horror.
Fuck,
Oh my
right?
God.
Terrifying.
Beyond.
In one case, detectives determined that he had hidden in a victim's home for an extended period of time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Basically, at this point, everybody's fear is peaking. They're freaking out. And by mid-77, local news outlets were publishing regular stories on him.
Oh,
And he loved every second of it.
fucking course he
He
did, yeah.
shifted his patterns deliberately based on things they were reporting, making it harder for police to predict where he would strike next.
'Cause yeah, he's gonna see every thread they're catching on to, and unlike so many of the stupid fucks that we talk about,
Yep.
like he's actually gonna make changes.
Right. He's smart enough to know, okay, they've caught on to that. So he taunted police with unexpected boldness. Once he escaped through a field as officers closed in on him, leaving behind evidence that he had known where they were positioned.
Whoa.
Right?
This guy's fucking crazy.
During one summer night in 1977, officers almost caught him. A resident had spotted a suspicious man fleeing between houses, and officers were beginning to close in. Flashlights, dogs, backup units, everything was converging quickly. But the attacker, he used that drainage canal and he got the fuck out and then went from the canal to a bike path, and officers that were on foot lost him in the darkness.
Damn it.
A helicopter overhead spotted movement, but lost him when he ran into dense trees. And minutes after that, he was just gone. Police said it was like he melted into the night. Now, after that close call, the panic of Sacramento mounted because they're literally thinking, if police couldn't catch him with officers, dogs, and a helicopter, how would they catch him?
Right. They literally have it all on him and they can't do it.
Right.
That's a different kind of terror, of just like the hopelessness.
It's like a supernatural entity at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's like a fucking demon.
Yeah.
Victims and detectives alike began to describe a consistent impression that the attacker seemed to know the layout of homes before he entered them, because he moved through hallways without any hesitation. He located drawers and kitchens and garages in pitch darkness. So again,
Oh, he's like really getting to know it.
yeah, he's spending a lot of time in these homes before he makes an attack. On February 2nd, 1978, a young Sacramento couple, 21-year-old Brian McGorry, a military policeman, and his 20-year-old wife Katie were walking their dog in Rancho Cordova, near where 5 of the East Area rapist attacks had occurred. When he sprang out, the McGorrys fled, but they were chased down and shot to death.
Holy shit.
Some investigators at the time suspected that they had been murdered by the East Area rapist because of the proximity to his other attack locations and because they found shoelaces that he would have used as ligatures nearby. Now, he would eventually plead guilty to their murders, but at the time it was a big question mark.
Interesting.
Right. By the late 1970s, the attacks in Northern California began to taper off, and the East Area rapist seemed to vanish just like the Visalia ransacker had before him.
Oh, so it's like, where's he gonna go next?
Well, communities had lived in fear for years finally felt this weird, cautious sense of relief come over them. Police wondered if maybe he'd been arrested or maybe suffered an injury or died or moved away. In reality, he had done exactly what they feared. He had moved south. Not only did he change his geography, but he elevated his behavior in a way that made everything far more complex and finally fully deadly.
Oh shit, what is he doing this time?
Well, at this point, he's now going to become a serial killer.
Gotcha.
Up until now.
Oh, he's just a serial rapist now.
Yeah, he had killed 2
individual killer.
Yes. The crimes that
You know what? Someone asked me the other day, they were like, what's the definition of a serial killer? Do we know? What's the definition?
It's 3 or more victims with a cooling off period in between.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
Because otherwise, you're a spree killer if you do it all at once. So
Right.
You need
3
that,
with separated, yeah.
Correct. You need that cool down period to officially be a serial killer. So the crimes that occurred in Southern California would eventually be attributed to what they initially called the Night Stalker, but we'll be referring to as the original Night Stalker.
Right.
Again, no one in public law enforcement at the time realized that all 3 of these people were the same man.
I guess in this era, there's probably a lot of other active criminals. I don't know. Maybe they should have figured it out. I don't know.
There are a lot of other active criminals, but at the same time, they're so far apart that I don't think people were really prepared for that.
Yeah.
And police were pretty naive at times. So when the attacks resumed, the change in tone was immediate. These crimes were no longer categorized as the work of a prolific intruder. These were now homicides committed with a level of planning and stealth that suggested serious evolution.
Ugh.
The Southern California attacks took place in communities like Goleta, Ventura, Dana Point, and Irvine. These were not random areas. These were suburban, coastal, and in many cases had recently experienced a wave of newcomers from other regions.
Oh, this really is his kind of MO, is he wants to get these like new suburbias.
Right, where everyone thinks it's new, safe, and glitzy. Yeah,
He just wants to ruin that for everyone.
and he does.
And he successfully does that. Yeah.
Yeah. Law enforcement struggled to connect these new crimes to the earlier ones, and they obviously didn't recognize that his behavior was different because they didn't realize it was him, but because his behavior was different.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
He was no longer content to flee after committing his crimes. He was now determined to silence his victims permanently, and the escalation pointed to two possible reasons. Either it was inspired, like it was like an escalation of his earlier East Area rapist attack, or as he was sort of maturing, he became more emboldened, and that created more violence in him. Or both could be true.
Yeah. Yeah. Two things can be true.
At that point, there was no physical evidence tying the two series of crimes together. One of the most striking elements of the Golden State Killer's evolution during this period is how much more calculated he became.
It feels like he can't get much more. This is crazy.
Well, witnesses described him as quiet, composed, and eerily prepared.
Ugh.
He again displayed intimate knowledge of their homes. He often entered days or weeks beforehand to remove window screens, unlock doors or windows for himself, and plant items that he would use later.
Ugh.
Where the East Area rapist had been bold but erratic, this new Southern California offender, this original Night Stalker persona, was methodical to an extreme. And here's where things get chilling. His military-style organization was not accidental. The Visalia ransacker, the East Area rapist, and the original Night Stalker had a name, and it was Joseph James DeAngelo. Joseph DeAngelo was applying skills he had learned years earlier during his time in the U.S. Navy and later as a police officer.
Oh shit. Yep. No wonder he's so good at this. He knows exactly what he's doing.
He was using training that he had received that was meant to protect people, to hunt them. Yeah. DeAngelo joined the U.S. Navy in September of 1964 and served 22 months during the Vietnam War. Beginning in 1968, DeAngelo attended Sierra College in Rocklin, California. He graduated with an associate's degree in police science with honors.
Mm-hmm.
He attended
I'm not surprised.
He attended Sacramento State University in 1971, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
He later took postgraduate courses and further police training in Visalia.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And from May of 1973 until August of 1976, DeAngelo was a burglary unit police officer in the town of Exeter, which was not too far from where he was committing his crimes as the Visalia ransacker.
Oh my God. At the same time?
At the same time.
Oh, oh my God. This is fucking bad shit, dude.
Right?
Absolutely nuts.
He then served as an officer in the town of Auburn, California from August 1976 until July of 1979, and he was let go because he was arrested for shoplifting, and what he was stealing was a hammer and dog repellent.
Oh, that doesn't look great. You should probably, I guess you don't want a paper trail of you buying it either.
Yeah, but at the same time, when he got caught and they fired him from the police force, this should have been massive red flags.
Yeah.
But
yeah, excellent point.
Yeah, but instead they just sentenced him to 6 months probation and fired him.
Okay, well, holding a cop accountable, mandatory applause.
Oh, wait, I haven't finished.
No.
During the process of being fired, DeAngelo threatened to kill the chief of police
What?
and allegedly stalked his house.
Now this is sloppy.
This is stupid.
Here's the sloppy shit coming out.
This is so stupid. In May of 1970, DeAngelo became engaged to a nursing student named Bonnie Jean Caldwell. She was a classmate at Sierra College, but she ended the relationship in 71 after he became manipulative and abusive. After the
Good for
break
her. Get out of there, queen.
After the breakup, he attempted to force her to marry him by threatening her with a gun.
Jesus Christ.
This fucking guy, man. I
Yeah,
can't.
he seems to be falling apart a little bit.
And this is still in the early 70s. He's still,
Jesus.
yeah, at this point, he's still the Visalia ransacker, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're jumping back in time.
Yeah, we're telling his private life as we go back.
Gotcha.
In November of 73, he married Sharon Marie Huddle, and this poor woman would remain married to him during his entire crime spree.
Holy shit.
So DeAngelo worked as a police officer in 2 California departments during the 1970s, and this experience played a crucial role in his ability to evade capture.
He's like literally can get insider information about as they're hunting him, and he's like hee 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 hee.
Right. He's literally using his badge as a mask, which is amazing.
Yeah.
There are documented cases where the East Area rapist appeared to be conducting counter surveillance. He, like you just said, he's literally watching it from both sides.
Insane.
Fucking nuts. His training allowed him to slip in and out of residential neighborhoods undetected, often moving like a shadow from one backyard to the next, knowing how and where police were going to move. It's so stupid.
It's so calculated. It's crazy.
So the Southern California's attacks were spaced out, but they weren't random. His pattern suggested he was targeting multiple homes at once, selecting them, entering in advance, studying their layouts, and then choosing the moment that gave him the greatest tactical advantage. It was, in many ways, a form of stalking that unfolded over long periods of time.
Yeah, I'd say it's totally stalking.
Victims reported missing items, unusual noises, finding their doors unlocked, small signs that really didn't make sense to anyone until after the attacks happened. This man wasn't just committing crimes, he was cultivating them. He was patient enough to wait.
He was curating them even.
Right? One of the earliest incidents in Goleta offers a unique window into his psychology. A couple had been attacked in their home, and the intruder attempted to bind them. However, the situation escalated, and something unexpected happened. As the husband fought back, something spooked the original Night Stalker.
Interesting.
He fled. He completely ran for it.
Yeah, that's not like him.
Witnesses reported seeing a man running through the neighborhood, nearly getting hit by a passing vehicle as he escaped on foot.
Yeah, very much not like him.
But this escape, this messy panic, whatever, I mean, it's not like him. And it kind of pushed him to evolve even further. Because now...
Yeah, he doesn't want that to happen in the future, and he's a control freak.
Exactly. Now he knows that something can rattle him. But instead of retreating or slowing down, he returned to the city of Goleta, and this time his attack would be more controlled. This mistake didn't make him cautious, it made him more determined.
Yup, I'm sure. That's just another challenge for him to beat. I'm sure he loves that.
Yep. And that's where we're going to end part 1 for the week.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, we still have the entire original Night Stalker part to do, and then the cold case section and Michelle McNamara's book, and yeah, we've got quite a bit more to go.
He's got to be up there in the, like, I guess he hasn't, in the story we've told so far, hasn't killed that many people so far, but
I believe
if he keeps in this pattern, he's got to be up there in the highest kill count.
I believe in the end he's responsible for 13 known murders.
I'm surprised it's not more, but that bodes well for next week, I guess.
Right. And the thing was, he was more, I think he had a lot more rape victims than he did murder victims by
Right.
far. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think,
it sounds like he had so many.
yeah, he didn't want to kill as much in the early years. That's for sure. Which is probably,
Yeah, that wasn't part of his control angle. Part of his control angle was probably leaving a live victim
to,
that then
that
the
was
fear of him would control.
correct. The terror of that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it sounds like he was much more interested in creating terror than death.
Yeah. And again, we'll get more into that in part two. So, once again, thank you everyone for joining us for part one of the Golden State Killer. We will see you next week. Once again, I'm Janice Dead,
And I'm Joyous Dead.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.